Hello traders, welcome back to the channel. Hope you are all doing great. First thing is wish you all a happy Christmas. Since today is holiday and today market is closed, I thought we will talk about FIIs and DIIs, right? Few days back, or if you had, let me tell you, if you had seen some YouTubers or some influencer, they would have told, I'm going to be a FII, I'm going to be a FII, I'm going to, in fact, now also they are telling they are FII, but I will tell you, few days back we were frustrated with the Indian market. Like there was too many spikes, too many injection. We thought we will maybe we will go to advanced market like US or let's say Singapore or some other country, and we thought Indian market is very agile, fragile and hostile. It is very hard to trade Indian market. Now what we did is we tried to we consulted a consultant in Bangalore, right? So we told that we have a plan or we have an objective to shift our investment to foreign countries, and from what we learned is that Indian resident getting out of India or Indian resident investing in Indian market is next to impossible. That is what we have learned from all these days. I think around 3 or 4 months we have been researching. And for an Indian resident, see, I'm an Indian resident. If you are not an Indian resident, that is a whole different ball game. But if you are an Indian resident, it is next to impossible. You cannot go out of India. You cannot invest in other market. Now let us. I'll tell you the hierarchy. First, there is SEBI, which is having a FPI framework, which is a foreign portfolio investors framework. Then under that you have FEMA, which is Foreign Exchange Management Act. Then you have ODI, Overseas Direct Investment. Then you have DATA, which is called Double Taxation Avoidance Agreement. All this framework, you have to cross all this hierarchy, then only you can be a FPI or FII, right? So people are saying, no, I'm going to become a FII, I'm shifting to Dubai, I'm shifting to US, I'm going to trade from US, and there are lots of videos in YouTube. Let me tell you, all this is a bluff, all this is bullshit, and it cannot be done at all. If you are an Indian resident, it cannot be done. Let us say, for example, you are a HNI in India, you are having crores and crores of rupees, you want to become a FII because you want to reduce the tax. Of course, if you are an FII, there are some tax benefits. We'll talk about that in a bit, but now we will consider this point. Let's say you want to become a FII, right? If you want to be a foreign institutional investor. Now what you will do is you are having funds in India. Of course, legitimately I'm talking. Of course, if you are if you are a person who is into politics, you have lots of funds parked outside India, of course there is no problem. But if you are having funds in India and if you want to transfer that fund, you will have the first problem. You cannot transfer more than around 250,000 US dollars. That is the main thing, right? You have to understand that. Second thing is FEMA regulation will come, which is Foreign Exchange Management Act. Now, after that, first ODI is there, after FEMA is there, then you have to come back to FPI, which is Foreign Portfolio Investor SEBI FII framework. SEBI will do a thorough inspection, they will do the, full scrutiny of whether you are eligible to be a FII in India. Now, FII, you have to understand what is FII and what they are doing. FIIs are foreign institutional investors. Let us say there is a hedge fund in US, okay? They can invest in India, but before investing in India, they have to go through all this, whatever I told, they have to go through all this framework. Then only they can invest in India, and of course they can invest in derivatives also. This is the FIIs, right? And for your information, I will tell you, FIIs are holding around 16 point, I think not even 16 point, 15.50% of Indian equities, right? Maybe it is Indian shares, maybe a debt instrument, or some other bonds. something like that. So their total value is 16 point or 15 point. In fact, this month it is around 12 years low, which is around 15%, which calculate, if you calculate the value, it is around 950 billion US dollars they have invested in Indian market, right? Now you have to understand, this is FIIs. Now, yeah, apart from FII, there are DIIs. DIIs, who are all DIIs? Maybe LIC is a DII, SBI Mutual Fund is a DII, your bank is a DII, maybe ICICI Prudential Care is a DII. So all kind of mutual funds, all kind of things in mutual fund in India, all type of SIP you are doing, mutual fund, all these people are DIIs. So these people are allowed to trade. Both FIIs and DIIs are allowed to trade in equities. They can buy shares, they can do derivatives trading also, but there is a difference. Now there is a regulation for FIIs. They can hedge their position, but they cannot speculate. And of course they will not speculate, right? They are having huge position. They will not try to speculate. Most of their trading activities is for hedging their position, or let's say maybe they are having huge maybe some strategies like covered call or something like that, right? Now let's say we'll come back to the first point. Now if you want to be an FII, you are going outside the country, you have to register yourself as a FII in maybe, let's say for example, Singapore. Okay, now what will happen is, you have registered an entity in Singapore. Let's say you are a hedge fund in Singapore, or let's say you are a private equity fund in Singapore who is handling your own fund. You are registered as an entity in Singapore. Now what you have to do, you have to come back to SEBI and you have to register. You have to go through this FPI framework. Then you have to go to FEMA. Then you have to go to ODI. Then you have to go to data. All this compliance. After all this compliance only, they will allow you to trade in Indian market and foreign. And there is a scrutiny. If you are a part of management role in a FII entity or a private equity entity in a foreign country, there are possibilities that SEBI will scrutinize you, and there are possibilities that they may not allow you to trade in Indian derivatives or Indian market for that matter. So this is the real scenario. Like I can tell you, we did a whole research in that, and there is some gain in terms of taxation when it comes to capital gain tax. It is very less. Tax rate is around 15%. Long term capital gain tax holding period more than 12 month tax rate is around 10%. Interest on government securities and bond tax rate is around 20%. And there is a concession if you are a pension fund, or if you are investing in government bond, there is a concession. Dividend tax, there is 20%. You have to pay surcharge and cess. It goes up to nil to around 37%, and dividend income also subject to TDS, which is at around 20%. So there are lots of taxation. Now you do the math. Let us say you are opening a FII, foreign company in Singapore, or let's say you are opening an entity in Singapore or USA, and you are trading in India. If you calculate all the administrative cost of opening an entity in Singapore, cost of opening a company in Dubai, or cost of opening a company in USA, and taxation, all this, if you do the math, it is better for you to trade in India itself. Maybe how much you will pay? 35%, maximum 40% tax you will pay. That also we can do. If you know how to reduce the tax, you can reduce that tax also. So there are a lot of things when it comes to opening a FII. It is not as simple as what people say. Whatever you are seeing in YouTube or whatever people saying is clickbait. If you are a non-resident, if you are not an Indian resident, then it is maybe easy for them. But if you are an Indian resident, it is next to impossible, is what I learned from our experience when we consulted a consultant in Bangalore. So this is what I have to say. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you in yet another video. Till then, take care. Bye.